Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the round review. This time we are reviewing round 17, which was once again categorized by more upsets than not. I would say in this round, based off the probabilities, the bookies, and who was looking likely to win, there were 5 upsets this round. So more than half the games were upsets, which is terrible for a tipster. In fact, to tell you the tips right now, I only got 5 tips right. So, look, to be honest, I got more tips right than wrong, but still, 5 out of 9 is not very good. Starting off the round, we had Collingwood, who took on the Essendon Football Club. They took on a injured and battered Collingwood. Essendon did, and they looked the better team all night. They very much impressed me, Essendon. And this season, they could well and truly win the flag. And I can't believe I'm saying that, but they were much better. 80-92, far more scoring shots as well. Collingwood, the big story I think for them is they're without Brodie Mychak for the rest of the season. So that is a massive blow. Who's going to play forward for them? Well, they're missing their best key forward. So not a good game for Collingwood if you exclude the result as well. For Essendon as well, Nate Caddy I thought was a shining light. He was phenomenal. For me, it was a battle of Dacos and Merritt. I thought Dacos and Merritt were the 2 players who were willing their team across the line. And it was Zach Merritt for me who was outstanding. He had one of the best games I've seen this season. Even though the stats, he got 30 touches in the goal. But what you don't see in the stats are the efforts, the multiple sprints, the class this guy has. And he was a dog that game, a dog. And he was by far Essendon's best player in my opinion. Now Essendon, they are sitting swiftly, comfortably in 4th place, but still the percentage is an issue, 99.9. So I wouldn't be overly, they still need to clock that exciting percentage because right now, the only teams with the worst percentage are Hawthorn, St Kilda, West Coast North and Richmond. So they're the 6th worst percentage in the league, but they are in 4th, they got the points on the board. Collingwood slipped down to 9th place out of the 8. There is talks about Collingwood not making finals, and now that they don't have Brodie Mychak, there's a very small chance they will miss out on finals. But really bad loss to Collingwood and an even worse injury. They're going to look very nervously for the rest of the year. Moving on to North Melbourne Gold Coast. What an upset victory this was. North Melbourne nearly lost it to death. I think it was Ainsworth with a very late miss. It was, but Ainsworth had the chance to win the game, but he didn't. And we all know what Damien Hardwick said at the post-match. It's just not good enough from Gold Coast. If they want to be a serious team that have to win away from home, this was the opportunity. North Melbourne, no greater opportunity, and they let it slip. I had the chance, Dimmer was furious, and to be completely honest, North Melbourne were just too good. Their midfielders, Colby McKercher, I thought Sheevels and Davies-Uniacke, Simpkin, I thought they were all very impressive, and the midfielders did not stand up for Gold Coast when they needed to. And to be completely honest, you can't take Gold Coast seriously if they're not winning these games. Because right now, they're sitting in a not comfortable 12th place on 32 points. And now, obviously the story of the night is, is North Melbourne officially off the bottom of the ladder. Richmond are on the bottom of the ladder. And I'll talk a bit more about that in a second. But no one thought North would win, and they did win. And we just can't trust Gold Coast. And to be honest, they've got more opportunities. I think they play West Coast and Richmond away from home. If they don't win those 2, they're an absolute write-off. I did predict this game correctly. Port Adelaide did easily get past the Dogs at home. The Dogs were actually favourites given their form recently, but it was Port Adelaide swiftly dispatching. From the minute the ball bounced, they looked the better team. Even though I thought the likes of Bont was really good, Treloar stood up as well, it was still an outstanding, I thought, defensive display from Port Adelaide. They've got some outstanding defenders. I just think the system isn't amazing for those defenders to shine. But even you look at the likes of Leah, let alone, is an outstanding defender. You've got the likes of Houston. We all know what Dan Houston can do on halfback. Miles Bergman, and then Zerk Thatcher, who they got on the off-season. It was the midfield trio of Butters, Rosie and Horne-Francis who did it. Horne-Francis kicked 3 goals. Georgiades with 5 goals as well. But the disposals, Rosie with 36 and 7 clearances. Butters, 33, 6 clearances. Ollie Wines, 39 clearances. That completely did and outdid the Dogs, who did have Libba with 9 clearances, but apart from Libba, Trelaw, and I thought Bont, it was not a good game for them. The Dogs slipped all the way down, back to 11th place. They've been lingering around there all season. They just can't seem to break into the 8. And for Port Adelaide, in 6th place, 2 wins ahead of the Dogs, a much-needed victory, and they can perhaps get the season back on track to make the finals potentially. Moving on to a game which was sort of expected. Geelong 110 to Hawthorn 59. They dominated Hawthorn. Hawthorn won't make finals. They've got a really hard run. But the Cats, they're in for a shout, the top 4. And I think they're more than likely to make it there. From the minute, once again, from the minute the bounce went, they looked the better team. Even though there was a bit of inaccuracy there for the Geelong Football Club, they were dominating. Brad Close, Cameron absolutely dominating. Stewart into the defensive line I thought was dominating. Even though their midfielders still struggle, the top... here's a good stat. 1, 2, 3, 4... 5 of the top 7 clearance getters were Hawthorn. So only 2 of the top 7 clearance getters were from Geelong. DeConey in danger. So the midfield still really struggles with Geelong, but they're in 5th place. Hawthorn still in 13th. If Geelong want to be a serious finals contender team, they have to fix up that midfield mix because they aren't getting the contested numbers and the clearances to warrant a win. Now, they're still winning, but as soon as you play a team who gets that territory and knows how to keep it, Geelong are done. Moving on to Giants-Carlton. The Giants got an upset win and it did not look likely. Carlton gave up a massive lead. At one point, it looked like Carlton would win by something like 50-odd points. In the first quarter, they were up by around 40 points. And then from that moment on, it was the Giants kicking, 6 goals in a row. 9, 10 goals in a row. Absolutely dominated Carlton. Carlton looked devoid of answers. They looked lost. It was the Mackay-Hogan show, both kicking 5 goals. But it was the midfield, I thought, of the Giants that stood up when it really mattered. Kieran Briggs and DeConey was a fantastic battle. Patrick Cripps continuing this stellar form, getting the 2 goals, 33 touches and 11 clearances. Might easily poll 3 votes again. But Tom Green with 33 touches. I thought Whitfield, I thought Callum Ward stood up with 2 goals. He's in really good form right now, Callum Ward. Cornelio as well. The Giants got a much needed win because right now they're in 8th place. Carlton's still comfortably in 2nd. But if they lost that game, the Giants, they would have slipped down sort of towards the 12th, maybe 13th match. So really important victory there. And although Carlton won't be too mad because the Giants do have the ability to win the flag, they are a great team, they can't be too mad because they gave themselves a chance. They let a massive lead slip. And at the end of the day, the Giants deserve the victory there. Moving on to Fremantle Richmond. We're going to move swiftly on from this because we all know I do a separate video you can check out on the YouTube channel about every Richmond game. But long story short, we were good, didn't deserve to lose by 51 points. But for the first time since 18 teams have been in the competition, we're finished around bottom of the ladder, which has never happened before for Richmond. Every other team has ended around dead last on the ladder in 18th, apart from Richmond, until this round. That's how bad of a record that is, and we've broken that. Melbourne beat West Coast. This is a pretty boring game. It was fast at some points with Gawn and Harley Reid having chons. But Melbourne, even though they didn't have Petrarca, I thought it was their midfield that stood up. Trent Rivers is putting together a very impressive season. And it was Van Rooyen with the 4 goals, who I thought was quite impressive. 4 goals for. He wasn't amazingly accurate. But we're going to move swiftly on from that because Melbourne, although they got a much needed and easy win, they're still in 10th place. And West Coast, the form right now is quite concerning. They're really slipping away. And they might finish dead last. St Kilda got an upset win against Sydney. 2 points. And it was Logan McDonald once again missing that set shot late in the game to possibly win Sydney that match. And he'll be ruining that opportunity because, to be completely honest, that's 2 weeks in a row he's had that chance and he's let it slip. The Saints, doesn't mean much for their season. And for Sydney, there's still 2 wins ahead of second place Carlton. So it's not that bad of a loss, but it is concerning. Sydney are starting to be found out. And suddenly, the players we all knew were amazing at the start of the season, the Heaney's, the Gouldens, the Warners, they're having warners poor, the Rowbottoms. They're not having that same influence, even though Heaney still kicked 2 goals, as did Chad Warner. If we look at the clearance numbers, St Kilda did very well on clearances, even though Rowbottom still won the clearance count. Look, great win for St Kilda. They would be very, very, very happy with that one. But Sydney, it's not looking good, Brev, because if you keep losing matches like that, you might not finish top ladder, which isn't the worst. They just had to finish top 2, really, to get that home final and the second chance. Final match of the round was the Lions taking on Adelaide. The Lions got a much-needed win. It was looking a little bit in doubt towards the end of that match, but they held firm, and they were pretty much in front for the whole entire match. And holy fucking shit, Lachie Neale could win a third Brownlow. 3 goals, 36 touches, 10 clearances, was by far player of the match. And then you look at the lesser midfielders. Dunkley, a goal, 35 touches, 7 clearances, 5 tackles. Zorko, more of a defender, but he can move through there. Oscar McInerney with 5 clearances is having a phenomenal season in the ruck. Very underrated season. McCluggage was good as well. Actually, McCluggage wasn't that good. But Dunkley and Neale, let alone as a midfield, is outstanding. The Lions are moved swiftly into the 8 in 7th place. One more win and they can jump all the way to 3rd place. And as for the Adelaide Football Club, they are now below St Kilda. It seems to be a battle between them and Saints who can finish in the bottom 4. Adelaide battled well, but not well enough to win. And that was the round. Thanks for watching. Follow TikTok FTFooty, and I'll be seeing you in another video.